Well, you've probably been hearing about this, but billionaire Tom Golisano is sick of getting whacked with New York state taxes, so much so that the businessman, the two-time gubernatorial candidate, has said, you know what, I'm leaving New York. Can't deal with it. I'm tired of it. New York's not the only state to see an exodus of the rich. Remember, in New York itself, Rush Limbaugh, who has a big swanky apartment here, he said the heck with it. But in a lot of very big states, the trend is the rich see they're being taxed to hell and they bolt. And it's happening across the globe. Michael Caine, the actor in Britain, facing a 60% top rate. Michael Caine, who in all his movies plays a very calm guy, he went ballistic. And he said he's moving to the Poconos. No, he didn't. I was just saying if you're paying attention. Cavuto Weinstein is joining me right now. He's with the Baltimore Regional. He's the director there of the Progressive Maryland and supported that state's millionaires tax. Now, as you know, Matthew, the argument against what you were for was that a lot of the folks for which this or for whom this tax was intended sort of jumped ship and went to nearby Virginia, thereby robbing you, your state, of the revenues they thought they'd get, right?
Well, Neil, let me, if I may, put this in context, because, you know, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I hate millionaires, I want to raise their taxes and drive them out of the state.
Well, they don't say to drive them out of the state part, but they do hate millionaires. But go ahead.
In Maryland, we made a decision that we were underinvesting in the basic building blocks of middle-class prosperity: education, healthcare, infrastructure, and as well as economic competitiveness. And so we made a decision that we had to do more. And so about a year and a half ago, in the fall of 2007, we passed a $2 billion revenue package. And that was supported by many elements of the business community because of the way that it makes the state more competitive. And Forbes magazine says that we are a pretty competitive state, and we are also the wealthiest state.
But I'm told it didn't raise nearly the revenue you thought it would. Is that right?
Well, the challenge is always, when you're doing a big revenue increase like that, you know, how are you going to pay for it? And we wanted to do it in a way that was fair. About a third of it ended up coming from slots. About a third of it ended up coming from the sales tax. And the other third came from the elements that we, as Progressive Maryland, lobbied for. The increase in the corporate income tax, closing corporate tax loopholes, as well as a restructuring of the state income tax to make it more fair and balanced. I know you guys are all for that.
But no, Matthew, I'm asking you, did you get the revenue you expected from the millionaires tax? Because a lot of them, we talked to a Virginia developer yesterday who just coaxed them to come to Virginia.
Well, we are getting a lot better revenue than we would have if we hadn't done those revenue increases. And the millionaires tax in particular, there was actually an article in the Washington Post and the Baltimore Sun yesterday about how the revenue numbers in general are down, and the Republican politicians and the Chamber of Commerce, two groups that are often indistinguishable, saying that they are the reason that the millionaires are leaving the state because of the millionaires tax, but they couldn't point to any evidence of that. They couldn't name a single person. I'm impressed you were able to find somebody who would actually give their name that they actually did that.
The high-tax states in this country, California, New Jersey, New York, soon Connecticut, they keep raising taxes, and they all have variations of millionaire taxes now. And the more they push this, the more they push this, the deeper fiscal strife they're in. So I'm beginning to wonder if that dog don't hunt.
This has been studied, and the studies have found that this has very little significant effect on people, where people decide to live. And in fact, in the Baltimore Sun article, they quoted an accountant who serves high-end clients who said his millionaire clients couldn't care less what the tax rate is.
I'm not debating that. What I'm debating is that I wish we had more time, but what I'm debating here is now all these high-tax states that are pushing, you know, higher taxes still, they're still doing a crappy job, right? They're still hurting. So I'm saying that if higher taxes were we're helping them, they have a pathetic way of showing it, right?
Well, in Maryland, we decided that we were going to invest $2 billion a year more in our education system. And the results are clear. We now have the #1 education system in the country. We have smaller class sizes. We have better paid and more qualified teachers, more up-to-date technology.
Yeah, but you're a financial basket
for.
case, and now you want to tap more money out of rich folks in any way you can get it. I'm not saying that's your fault. I'm just saying that...
Well, there is a recession going on.
Well, yeah, well, duh. But I'm saying that there are a lot of low-tax states that aren't hurting as much. Is there a correlation that the more you tax folks, rich, poor, in between, the more they just say, you know, this is not a hospitable environment?
Well, if the argument that you're making were true, then Fox Business Network would probably be headquartered in Alabama or Mississippi.
We'll be fine with me, but I'm right now. No, frankly, it's the hot dog vendors that keep me here.
The fact of the matter is that taxes are near the bottom of the list when businesses and individuals decide where they're going to locate. And I'll be honest with you. What I wrote in my letter to the editor in the Baltimore Sun today was that, frankly, it's a slander against upper-income Americans and upper-income Marylanders to say that they are so uncivic-minded and unpatriotic that they're going to move out of the state when somebody tries to raise their taxes.
You are equating patriotism and civic-mindedness with paying a lot of money, which is dumb. Matt, listen, I know you can hear me, Matt. I know you can. So hear this.
They're doing their part.
Stop. I want you to answer this.
And we should be thanking them for that.
All right, Matt.
Not insulting them.
All right, you know, Matt, cut him. He's